ॐ सहनाववतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि। भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। My namaskars to you all who are listening this talk on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. ये विजय, ये तुम्हारा कैमरा सीधा लगा है? ये तो सेंटर में नहीं दिख रहा है। तो वहां पे तुम्हारे स्क्रीन पे ठीक है क्या? हाँ ठीक है। So last class it was Guru Purnima, so it was not held. So continuing from the class which we last had earlier to the last Sunday. Now we are looking at the chapter number 13 and contemplating verses from there on. Here now this section what we are looking at, which begins with the verse number 12. Jneyam yattat pravakshami yajñatva mrutam rashnute anadimat param brahma na sattanna saduchyate. So before to that we had section beginning with verse number 5, verse number 7. Verse number 7. In verse number 5 and 6 we had one section. Then verse number 7 until verse number 11, that is another section, which Bhagavan concludes at what is jnana, what is knowledge, beginning with amanitvam, adambhitvam, etc. And I pointed out that so Shankaracharya's idea about it, why this is called as jnana, why it is called as knowledge, because it is instrument to knowledge, it is way to knowledge. Practicing or cultivating these character attributes into your life and making this as a sadhana, then it becomes way to attain knowledge. Also, and I pointed out that this is nididhyasana. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, that is practice of this meditation on Brahman into the field of action, into actual living. This is that one. And from in the 12th verse, Bhagavan says, again he opens up a section and he says, Nyayam yatyat pravakshami, that is, Nyayam is what is to be known. And he himself says, what is to be known? That is called as Brahman. Anadimat, which is of the nature of beginninglessness. It is of the nature of this. That it does not begin, that is meaning that it does not have any manufacturing date of creation. Meaning that it is not manufactured or it is not compound, it is not product of admixture of two elements. That Brahman, which cannot be called as, and that entity, again he qualifies with this idea, na sat na asat uchyate, na sattanna saduchyate, with this phrase. So what does that that phrase I had explained a little, and when we use the word Sat Chit Ananda, this word Sat, it comes in Satchidananda, or sometimes we spell it at Satchidananda. Sa, half cha, then cha, ikar, Satchidananda. So, if we dissect that word, it will come to three padas, three forms, three parts. Sat, Chit and Ananda. Combined and composite one word we get as Satchidananda. So Satchidananda is nothing but Sat, Chit and Ananda. Now here Sat refers to the existence absolute. Chit refers to that essence of knowledge absolute. Ananda refers to that Ananda, intense experience, the core of it, absolute. What is the meaning of word absolute? When we say absolute, what does it signify? It signifies that again, that it is absolute, it is not relative, that is, it is pure, it is not condition, it is not upadhi, it is not quality, it is not product of something. This is what word absolute points out or infers to. So Satchid Ananda, with these three words, that Brahman is pointed out. You will find it in 16th, 17th verse. You will get this verse that he said, with this we point out to Brahman, that ultimate reality. Now here it is called as absolute. Sat means existence. So absolute existence it is called as. And here Bhagavan is saying that it cannot be called as Sat, neither Sat nor Asat. Now this is something very interesting. And why does he say so? Why does that Brahman, which is to be known, he says, Neyam yattat pravakshami yajñatva mrutam Yajñatva means knowing which you will, Ashnute means consuming, Amrutam meaning that you will attain to immortality. How does one attain to immortality? Even these ideas we discussed earlier. And what is that Neyam? That is meaning that Neyam is which is to be known. Which is to be known. And he says that it is Anadimat Param Brahma. That Anadimat, which has the nature of beginninglessness, and which is Param, which is the ultimate, that is Brahman, and which can be said about it? that it is neither existent and nor it is non-existence. Why it is non-existent, it is said, or existent, why it cannot be said about that? It cannot be said existent in the sense of the term every other thing of your experience exists. Not in that term. That meaning that it never modifies. So this idea, it would be wrong if we say that Brahman has become everything, means in that sense, like from clay I made some ornaments or some things to play. No, not in that sense. Like I have from clay I have made one pot, one cover, one some another bowl. So from clay I made this. No, not in this sense Brahman has become these things. Not in this sense. So it cannot be said existent in this sense. Neither it says that it cannot be said non-existence. Why it cannot be said? That now there is no more clay, that in this sense it does not exist. No, you cannot say neither that. You cannot attribute any materiality to it. This is the point. This is to be understood. You cannot attribute materiality to it, and then giving this caution, giving this this rider, now he goes with this exposition, sarvatah panipadam tat. I have pointed out while this explaining this Gita about this Bhagwan, whenever he went to speak something about this ultimate reality, again and again, he has always cautioned not to make this mistake, not to misunderstand this. And here also he could not or cannot restrain himself, or he thinks it is imperative to make this caution very explicit once again, not to understand reality as something material. So that's why this phrase again, na sattanna saduchyate, he says that. In the 7th chapter we have seen, in the 9th chapter we have seen, he again and again, in earlier chapter also. So whenever there is a question of ultimate reality, he will always come with this caution, not to misunderstand it as something material. And giving this caution, then he goes on, sarvata panipadam tat, etc. And what he is talking about? The idea of Brahman, how Brahman is to be understood, what you have to know about it. Now we are talking about something to be practiced, something to be lived in this day-to-day life. So that's why examples are material. Sarvata panipadam tat, sarvato shiro mukham, means which has pani, that is hands, then feet, then akshi, that is eyes, shira, that is head, and mukham, that is mouth, everywhere. Then it has eyes everywhere. And not only that, it is enveloping everything, sarvam avrutya tishtati. So that element, that entity which is everywhere, meaning that everywhere this function you see, that is the Atma. Therefore, whenever this knowledge is happening, because of this, through all these senses of eyes, ear, or from this mouth, or with feet and hand, so any action or any knowledge, whatsoever is happening, this Atman, this consciousness, this Sat or this Chit, it is the ultimate consumer of it, bhokta of it. To it, everything is going to end. Until then, everything is being processed from one point to other, passed on from one point to other. But here it ends. He is the ultimate consumer. That Satchidananda Atma. So that Brahman, that is now everything. Then Sarvendriya Guna Bhasam, Sarvendriya Vivarjitam, Asaktam Sarva Bhruchaiva, Nirgunam Guna Bhoktrucha. So by its power, that all qualities, all functionalities of all indriyas, they as if shines through, means they come to life. And still it is without any indriya sarvendriya vivarjitam, that it is not again material. Sarvendriya vivarjitam, it is not some person who is having these indriyas or these functions. Indriyas means your sense organs. Asaktam, it is completely unattached, and still it is the one which sarvabhrut, which nourishes, which sustains all beings, whole of this creation, which itself is without all qualities, but it is all the enjoyer of all qualities. Guna bhoktrucha. These self contradictory terms are being used to make one understand what is the nature of that Brahman. That itself being without any qualities. So, because it is not material, so qualities, they have the they can spike and they can mellow down. So there are changes. There is no change in the state. It is not something that material and there is quality. It is not of that nature. These are not its qualities. It is the Brahman, the ultimate reality, ultimate consciousness is of this type. It is nirgunam, and also it is guna bhoktrucha. When you speak in the terms of the world and its prapancha, then whatever is happening, it is the ultimate bhokta, the consumer, the enjoyer of experiencer of all gunas. With gunas, everything happens. With gunas, there is sattva, rajas, tamas, there is a variation. There is multiplicity in the universe. With this, different materials are formed, and then different materials combined, and far more different things are formed. Right from your mind and all other faculties on that subtle level to this gross world, everything is admixture due to the force of the gunas. These different things come to existence. So that's why when we say gunas, it signifies everything of this creation. Sattva, rajas, tamas. With these three gunas, this prakriti of 28 elements, it expresses itself in a manifold way. Pancha Mahabhuta, Indriya, Vishaya, etc. Your Antakaran Chatushtaya also. Mana Buddhi, Chitta, Hankara, etc. And whole play of it. So everything is like gunas are those drops of the ocean, of which different waves of different shape are continuously forming, which we call this as world over the scape of time. It is coming, rising, and again submerging into that ocean. It's called as Prakriti, and the one constant witness of it is that Purusha, is that consciousness, is that Brahman, in which everything this is happening. It is the ultimate experiencer, enjoyer of it, the play of those gunas, and itself being completely unattached. It is not involved, it has not transformed or modified. So, with these statements, that ultimate reality is pointed out. This is Brahman. This is Brahman. This is Maya. With this, you see this prapancha. Sarvendriya gunabhasam. So, as far as world is concerned, these indriyas are concerned, their functionality is concerned, yes, with its presence only it is happening. And it itself being, it is no being like the being we know. It is sarvendriya vivarjitam. It does not have any indriyas itself. It does not enjoy all other these gunas through such indriyas. It does not have. You cannot attribute such indriyas, sense organs, to that reality. That reality is not personal. This again and again is emphasized. We cannot come out of this idea of personal. Bhagavan, he is starting from this, again and again he pointed out, he said that Mam Abuddhaya. So the people with no brain, no intellect, they consider me as a human being. Again and again he is expressing that. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mam abuddhayah. Abuddhayah consider me avyaktam as a vyakti. Not to make this mistake. Not to make this mistake. What ultimate reality is, what paramarthik satya is, and what is vyavaharika satya. So try to make this distinction. As far as vyavaharika satya is there, this is the one ultimate, that reality lies underneath it. And if you really rise above this vyavaharika satya, this practical truth, this practical reality, then you can experience that ultimate reality. That is one thing. Why ultimate reality is to be understood? Without that, this practical chaos in this practical world, it will not make any sense. It can only be made sense on the basis of that ultimate reality. Only on the basis of moksha, the idea of dharma is founded. Without moksha, there is no dharma. Dharma is what is your duty, what is your kartavya, how you should behave, what you should aspire for, and how you should fulfill your aspirations. What do you aspire for? That part is kama. How should you fulfill those aspirations? That part is artha. How you should go about all these matters? That part is dharma. And what is the nature of the ultimate reality? And how you are going, why this is happening, and how you can get rid of it? That part is moksha. So moksha explains this, that this is the nature of ultimate reality. This is the confusion you are having. This is the maya. Once you get out of this ignorance, you would attain this moksha. So how to attain this moksha? Then for that, dharma is configured in that way. So if you live your life, or if you approach this way, so then you can slowly, gradually make effort, gather enough momentum, and slowly get free, attain that freedom, attain that liberation through illumination. This ignorance will be dispelled. Knowledge will shine. So idea of that Brahman being explained in various ways, that it is everywhere, then it is of the Indriyas and Guna Bhokta. Then the next idea comes Bahirantascha Bhutanam Charam Acharam Charamevacha Sukshmatva Tad Avidnyayam Durastham Chantike Chatat. Again, self-contradictory oxymoronic language is used. Because without that, it would be unjust and incorrect to say in only one way. So it is bahi, it is antascha, anta also, it is outside and it is within also of all beings, bhutanam, and then charam, acharam, charamevacha. So whatever is acharam, which is immovable, and whatever is movable, everything of its outside and inside, it is that. Then it is so subtle that it becomes, or it is avidneyam, that's why you obviously, very evidently cannot know it, because it is so subtle. So you will have to approach in a better way, and it is for that, that's why it is so far, because you are not able to understand it, and if you are understood it, then it is within you only. It is not very far. Durastham cha antike cha tat. That tat is Brahman. Tat means that this word points out to that Brahman always. So So this is the 15th verse. 16th verse said again, avibhaktam, that it is not divided, avibhaktam cha bhuteshu, that it is not divided into the different beings. It is not that consciousness is in your heart, their heart, and it is somewhere, everywhere we have put one light. Not this idea. Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu, it is not divided into beings. Vibhaktam iva cha sthitam, as if, iva means as if it appears divided, like situated in different beings, it appears like that. So this is that reality. It is everywhere. It appears as if it is divided. It is situated differently in all beings. Vibhaktam iva cha sthitam. Bhutar bhartru. Again this word, that one who is the poshana karta, bhartru, one who is the one who feeds or sustains or make their living or their existence possible, that is bharta. So bhutar bhartru, of all beings, of all elements. Bhutar bhartru, that is, and that is to be known, tajneyam, that is to be known. This is that Brahman. It is that consciousness, it is that pure existence, it is that pure Ananda, Sat Chit Ananda. And he says, it is Bhartra also, it is Grasishnu, Prabha Vishnu, so Prabha Vishnu cha. So it is also which is the devourer of everything. Meaning that everything will end in it. Everything will go to dissolution into it. And it is also going to create everything. Prabha Vishnu, Prabhava. Prabhava means Janma, creation. It will create, it will devour everything, it will absorb into it, and it is the one in between when it sustains. So we have this concept of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, that Brahma creates, Vishnu sustains, and Mahesh, that is, he destroys everything. This is the same idea. That origination of this illusion, sustenance of this illusion, and the dissolution of this illusion. Everything happens in that Brahman. That idea, that entity is Brahman, that is to be known, Arjuna. This Bhagavan is saying. This is the 16th verse. Until this verse we had seen earlier in the last class. Now here this idea concludes in this 17th and 18th verse. So again the Bhagavan says, gives one more example. Jyotisham apita jyoti tamasa param uchyate jnanam jneyam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya vishtitam or dhishtitam. There are two versions of this verse. Dhishtitam also, vishtitam also. So hridi sarvasya vishtitam. This is more popular. Hridi sarvasya vishtitam. So Jyotisham, like all those bodies, celestial bodies, which shines, or you can say anything which shines. So like sun, etc., they are self-shining. So they are all effulgence. It comes from that Brahman. And so of Jyoti, of all those Jyotishman, the light of even all lights, whatever is now effulgent, their light is that Brahman. Jyotisham apita jyoti tamasaha param uchyate. It is beyond all tamasa, that is andhakara. And this is what it is. Jnanam, it is the knowledge, it is to be known, and it is jnanagamyam, that this is what it becomes when you know through the knowledge. There is nothing else apart from it. That is the idea. And this Brahman, this consciousness is also situated in your heart itself. Hrudi sarvasya, of all beings, vishtitam or adhishtitam. That consciousness is closest. If you look into your heart, it is that Brahman, it is that ultimate reality, it is the Parameshwara, the highest Paramatma, that highest form of the God, that resides in your heart. Because why in your heart? Not because you are something special, but because it is in the heart of everything. That is the idea. So you are special on another sense, that you can realize it. Not all things are being equipped with such resources that with which you can contemplate, you can turn your focus on, and you can realize it. This is not given to all, this is given to you, but it is nonetheless present at the core, at the center, as a soul of everything of this universe. That is the nature of that Brahman. So explain to Arjuna in various ways that how it is enveloping everything, to the last minute detail of this word at its crux. So this is the nature of that ultimate reality. It is through and through permeating and enveloping this universe, this creation. Meaning that it is not somewhere, but to mistake it something within space and time, that it would be a mistake. That it would be a gross error. Because within space and time, then you are trying to make it material. It is not material. Meaning that it is everywhere. You can realize it. And what does this signify, or what does this knowledge gives us? What idea? It gives this gives out this idea that this universe originates from it, and it is its only destiny. So also it is yours. All human beings with their all aspirations, motivations of all those forces which are playing within that being, of their desires, of their will, determination, love, hatred, and everything. Whatever you experience, it has but only one destiny. It is seeking only one thing, and it will only go and end at only one point. That is this reality. You might be thinking, I want this, I want that, I want to go there, here, there, so many things. This is the final truth. In one way or other, everything is camouflaged, disguised into something, and you consider that disguise as the reality. Then that mask drops off, and you think again the next mask is there, and you think this is the real person. And again afterward that mask drops off, and again you think the what you see is the person, is the reality. And this goes on and goes on, unless you come to ask this question, what do we want, what is the ultimate destiny, and you go for this, the scriptures or realized soul, and also your logic will help you to determine this truth. And unless you set yourself consciously and deliberately to pursue, to find and attain this truth, there is no respite. There is no respite. So this is the bandhan. Here lies the bondage. And unless you become aware of the bondage and you desperately seek to be free from it, there is no beginning of this spiritual struggle, this battle, this war, and without its beginning there is no end to it. And when it ends, it culminates into this realization and then you attain this liberation, then you become free, then you become illumined, and then you are no more influenced, manipulated, forced, coerced helplessly by this illusion. That is called as moksha. So Bhagavan says, concludes here, he says that I have so far explained these ideas, like I have said, fourth and fifth, iti kshetram tatha jnanam jneyam choktam samasatah. Choktam means cha uktam. Cha means and. What he says, iti means in this way or hereby. Kshetram. Kshetram, because this adhyaya itself is known as field and knower of the field. The distinction between the kshetra and kshetrajna vibhaga yoga. So knowing this, you will have yoga. Yoga means on the path to the moksha. That is yoga. And this knowledge will help you go further on that path to moksha. What is this knowledge? This knowledge of this classification of this distinction between kshetra and kshetrajna. What is kshetra? Kshetra is materiality. What is kshetrajna? The spirituality, the spirit, the consciousness. That Brahman is kshetrajna. And kshetra is everything else that is which is material. These two things are to be known very clearly. So not to be confused and conflate one for another, not to mistake one thing for another. So in the fourth and fifth verse, the idea of kshetra, in very briefly, along with vikara, Bhagavan explained that pancha mahabhuta, etc., etc. And then he said jnanam. So from the seventh verse onward to 11th verse, he explained the jnana, amanitvam, adambhitvam, etc. Those ideas, how you will get jnana, or rather when you get jnana, how it will manifest. Then he said, what is jnaya? Jnaya is what? That Brahman again. And how you are going to, now earlier he said the character attributes, how you will live this, where you are going to practice this, where you are going to meditate. He said in every particle, every moment it exists. Everywhere. Sarvata pani padam tat sarvatokshi shiro mukham. Sarvata shruti malloke sarvam avrutya tishtati, etc. So in every moment it exists. Where you want to go? You meditate every moment. So this is jnayam. Here you meditate on everything. Because everywhere there is that Brahman, it is enveloping everything. So where you are meditating on Brahman through some form or other. Like I meditate, suppose, on some form of divine. I meditate upon Sri Ramakrishna. Through his form, I am trying to meditate on the Brahman itself. So he is showing that whole universe is manifestation of it. Jnayam. And he said that I have explained these things briefly. And he says, Mad Bhakta, the one who is devoted to me. My devotee, who has that Shraddha, Vishwas, that faith, and who believes in my word and who would follow me, such a person. Mad Bhakta, etad vidnyaya, knowing this thing, knowing this distinction of knowledge. Now he would madbhavaya upapaddate, he will attain to my bhava, to my mood, to my sentiment, to my nature. Meaning like that, he will inherit my own consciousness. The way I am, he will become. Madbhavaya upapadyate. The very clarity Sri Krishna has, that clarity will come to that devotee. Of this knowledge, of this living, of this world, and of the moksha. Krishna, what Krishna, that aim and objective he is putting before you, उसके सामने घंटी बजा के भोग चढ़ाने के लिए नहीं बोल रहा है. He said, become like me. Mad bhavaya upapadyate. Become like me. This is what? and then you would be my devotee. Then you would be truly following me. Attend to me, become like me. Become a person like me and fight this war, Arjuna. Become like me. Don't say, oh, how nice you are. This is no good. Mad bhavaya upapadyate. One must attend to his nature. One must become like him. That is the idea of spirituality. Other thing is weakness, it is nonsense, and it is dishonesty, and what you say, so one must make this courage, one must muster the strength to aspire the right ideal, to have clear idea about it and work toward it. Loving, worshipping a divine form is to acquire his character. That character we must try to obtain, we must try to modify, transform ourselves into it, try to become like one. Grain by grain, bit by bit, you will not do it overnight, but that is essentially the thing. That is essentially the thing. This is, he says, Mad Bhakta etad vidnyaya, knowing this, realizing this, and putting this into practice, and as suggested in this way, making this as a sadhana, he will attend to my character, attend to my nature. Mad bhavaya upapadyate. Now, this is the 18th verse. Now again, this, the rest of the chapter, again these ideas are explained. Terminology is used of the Sankhyas, like Prakriti, like Kshetra and Kshetrajna, like material and consciousness, matter and consciousness. Here again, the proper Sankhyan terminology is again used. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidyanadi Ubhavapi. That this Prakriti and Purusha, both Ubhav Api, both of them are to be realized. Vidyanadi. Vidhi Anadi, that they are beginningless. They are beginningless. This is the Sankhyan thought. So among the darshanas, Hindu Astik darshanas, 6 darshanas, this first pair is Nyaya Vaisheshika, logic, Nyaya Vaisheshika. Vishaya, that is materiality. They are studying Vishaya. Vaisheshika. Vishesha, from Vishesha comes the word Vaisheshika. Vaisheshikas are after the speciality of those materials of this world. Vishesha. Vaisheshika, Nyaya, Vaisheshika. Then the second pair is Sankhya and Yoga. Second pair is Sankhya and Yoga. Sankhya itself means knowledge. Yoga is more, so it takes the philosophy of Sankhyas. Sankhya once emerges out, so Kapila is called as Pravartaka of the Sankhya's, the great Rishi of the, he gave this knowledge of this Sankhya philosophy to his mother Devahuti. And so Kapila is the Rishi. He brings and establishes this Sankhyan philosophy. So yoga philosophy take almost all of it and some element, but they are more known for their practical side. So great rishis like Patanjali, etc., even Panini, they were great yogis, so who founded this school of philosophy, yoga. And then there is last pair is called as Purva Mimamsa and Uttar Mimamsa, or Mimamsa and Vedanta. So Purva Mimamsa means they see they more focus on the earlier part, for first part of the Vedanta, this Vedas. Mimamsa, that is analysis, and Uttar Mimamsa, which does the analysis, which stands or more focused on the later part of the Vedas. Uttar Mimamsa, later analysis. But this last darshana, Uttar Mimamsa, is also known as Vedanta because it sees or studies and stands on this later or end portion of the Vedas. That is Vedanta. And Vedanta also borrows its cosmology, its epistemology, and most of it from the Sankhyas. It absorbs all other previous evolution of these philosophies, like Nyaya. It borrows from the Mimamsakas. It borrows from the Yogas. So whatever best lies in all five philosophy, Vedanta absorbs into it and takes it one notch and ultimately further. That ultimate nature and propounds that ultimate nature of the reality is singular, one without a second. Ekamayeva dvitiyam. So according to Sankhya, now Sankhyan idea is very nice to understand, and it is more relatable. That's why Bhagwan uses this for Arjuna. Prakrutim purusham chaiva vidhi anadi ubhav api. They are both anadi, they are beginningless. Prakriti and Purusha. And Vikaranshcha gunashchaiva vidhi prakriti sambhavan. Along with Vikara means with Vikara, all this creation will emerge, ensue. That is the Vikara. If there is no Vikara, then there is no creation. So there is no happening. If something is happening, and that happening begins, and this creation will emerge. Vikara, and this is possible due to gunas. When everything goes to dissolution, gunas stop vibrating. Their kampana is stopped. They do not function. They are situated in themselves silently. They stop. When creation has to begin, they again start vibrating. Once they start oscillating, and with their admixture, whole creation emerges again. So for a person who realizes, who has this Brahmajnana, for him, all his gunas, they must slowly settle down. That is the idea. So his Prakriti must come to rest. For an individual, forget about the whole of the cosmos, but for an individual, how do you know, how do you get this knowledge? When did you saw this all dissolution? If you realize Brahman, then you yourself will experience this. You do not have to see the end of the universe. Because what is true in your microcosm, it would be true for the macrocosm. And thus, when Prakriti come to rest, when gunas settle down in their own svabhava and stop vibrating, this goes to dissolution. Then this manolaya will happen. When manolaya will happen, then there would be samadhi, and with samadhi, then this absolute effacement of individuality will happen, and what will remain? What will remain? The only infinity will remain. Only infinity will remain and nothing else. There is not infinity and then you are the witness of it. No, not like that. Only you do not exist. You become the infinity. You become the infinity. So vikaranscha gunascha with vikara and guna. This vidhi prakriti sambhavan, that prakriti sambhavan, that is, these both things are born out of prakriti, that vikara and guna, meaning that they are the part of prakriti, they are the prakriti. They saying that they are the product of prakriti, yes, one way, because they exist in prakriti only, meaning that they do not exist in purusha. This part is important, that this purusha or this ishvara, it creates the universe. Vikara does not stay with the purusha. This idea is important. Gunas do not stay with the purusha. This idea is more important. That's why it is specifically saying they are prakriti sambhavan, they are not purusha sambhavan. And next verse it will explain this. That's why in the 20th verse it is said, karya karana kartrutve, three things. Karya, that is any deed, any action. Karana, the instrument of it. And that kartrutva, that is the doership of that all those actions. In all these three things, hetuhu prakriti ruchyate, the responsibility or the onus lies with the prakriti, not the purusha. This idea is explained. This 13th chapter is considered to be one of the most difficult chapter. So, difficult chapter. And this portion which you are going into, here some verses are there. They are extremely philosophically abstruse ideas are there. So, you have to take it as you are comfortable. So, and whatever is essential, which is more practical for you, that you can take. What is more relevant and relatable for you. But this is very philosophical part. However, so nonetheless, this is where part of the teachings of the philosophy, or where which is the bedrock of all. How do we think? How do we draw our conclusions for? This is where it stands or it emanates from. Okay. So karya karuna kartrutve. So many times people come to think and come to talk like that. How did Bhagwan did like this? How could Bhagwan allow to happen like this? Why did Bhagwan didn't stop this thing? I cannot understand, etc. When we do bhakti and we attribute personal characteristics to the divine, it is for our sake only. It is for our sake only, so that it becomes more relatable for us. So that for us it would become more relatable, and we will cultivate our devotion on the basis of that. So devotion is very practical, very subjective, and it is applied science. I like one verse. It is in 6th chapter. So it begins like that. I like that verse. So for a long time I had kept it as my WhatsApp. This was the what they say, that you see somebody's name and there something is written there. I do not know what is said. Like your introduction or bio, you can write 2 lines. You can write after your image and all that. So that verse says, न कर्तृत्वम न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभु न कर्म फल संयोगम स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते. This is that verse, and I will tell you न कर्तृत्वम न कर्माणि. I always forget that. It is 14th verse of 5th chapter. 14th verse of 5th chapter. It's a great idea. You will not find it in any holy scripture of any religion, any denomination, anywhere, where Bhagwan completely absolves himself that I am not involved into your mess. न कर्तृत्वम न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभु न कर्म फल संयोगम स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते. He said that not kartrutva, not doership, na karmani, not your action or your deeds, na kartrutvam, na karmani, lokasya means of all people or of this world. I do not create, na srujate, I am not creator of this. See, Gita is very consistent in its approach. Again and again it is saying, whereas 100% Hindus believe exactly opposite to this idea. Bhagavan saying, I am not responsible for this. Na srujate prabhu, na karma phala. Not only that, third thing is that karma phala sayoga. That also I am not responsible for. I do not do this thing. I am not involved in this thing. Do not blame me. Na karma phala sayogam. So who does this? Then it's Bhagavan says, Swabhava Prakriti. Prakriti is working on its own. Swabhavastu pravartate. He is not responsible for this. Here, Bhagavan says, here the 20th verse, Karya Karana Kartrutve Hetuhu Prakriti Ruchyate. In the production of the body and the senses, Prakriti is said to be the cause. Here meaning is taken totally differently. Hetuhu Prakriti Ruchyate. So, and Bhagavan says, but Purushaha Sukha Dukkhanam Bhoktrutve Hetu Ruchyate. He is the Bhokta, he is the experiencer, he is the enjoyer. Purusha is always that. So Prakriti is doing all work, and Purusha is this is the concept of the Sankhyan's. Sankhyan's believe and propounds this idea that these two things are completely distinct. Vedanta, however, goes one step further, and they say there are no two realities, there is only one. So how does then you explain this materiality if the ultimate reality is consciousness? That's why they bring in the concept of Maya. We do not know, that is to speak it plainly. We do not know how this happens. But we are for sure certain that this is the only, there is only one reality, there are not two. Like Sankhyan say there are two, Prakriti and Purusha. And Vedantis say no, ultimately there is one. Then they say, how do you explain this? They say Maya. That meaning that they are shutting their mouth in some such concept that don't ask this question. We do not know, you cannot solve this riddle. This is impossible to know how this happens. However, if you get out of it, you will get the answer and you will believe, you will experience for yourself that ultimate reality is only one. So, however, putting it in this way, so the Purusha, the consciousness, so Purusha is consciousness, they say. But the Karya, the Ananda, they say Purusha, Sankhyans have peculiar idea. Bhagavan doesn't refer such idea here. So Sankhyan said that Ananda lies with Prakriti and Purusha is Nirananda, this side. And Bhagavan never said this here. Bhagavan didn't bring that particular concept because the Vedanta, what he propounds, Bhagwan Sri Krishna himself is the proponent of the Vedanta. Bhagwan Sri Krishna himself is the proponent of the Vedanta. So Kapila therefore is earlier to Bhagwan Sri Krishna. Kapila is earlier to Bhagwan Sri Krishna. Bhagwan Sri Krishna is later to Kapila. So idea of Vedanta, what Bhagwan propounds here or throughout this, that's why the concept which are not conducive for the Vedanta teaching, Bhagwan does not borrow from the Sankhyans. He doesn't take that idea. He picked that these two ideas as far as it goes good. All right. Purusha Sukha Dukkhanam, all this Sukha and Dukkha, what happens due to your karma, karya, karana, kartrutva, whatever happens, that Sukha Dukkha, the result of it is experienced by your Atman, the consciousness, the Purusha. So actually this verse and this next verse has to be taken together, or rather this portion we will have to take together. So we will have to go a few rounds with this, because unless you go and put this whole scape of the ideas very summarily, then without that we will not be able to grasp what point is being made through this, why Bhagwan is taking this course of one idea after other. What is its ultimate objective? What does he want to drive home? What does he want to explain to Arjuna? That point must become clear to us. Simply speaking, of all this Sankhyan philosophy being explained, what does ultimately he want to make Arjuna understand? We should really see whether Arjuna even understands it. So it will become clear whether Arjuna understood it or not if he says something. He doesn't say a word. He doesn't say a word, doesn't ask a question, and Bhagwan continues in the 14th verse. And where does he opens his mouth? I think not here. Something in this, he says in the 21st verse of the 14th chapter. Because that is something he find it something very rejoiceable, understandable, correlatable, and that question therefore he asked. Anyhow, we'll conclude, but next Sunday there will not be class again, because I am not in the town. I am going out. So after next Sunday, 4th August, I am not there. 11th कुछ फंक्शन वगैरह है तो ठीक है, 11 अगस्त को क्लास होगा. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम तत्सत्. श्री राम कृष्णार्पणमस्तु.